there, thanks for tuning in. This is the Tammy Tine Design YouTube channel. I'm Tammy, and today I'm creating the second layout in my September Batch Scrapbooking Series, and this is video number 4. Thanks so much to everyone for watching and for all of the kind feedback. This has been a fun series for me to plan, and I'm so glad that what I do can be a source of inspiration for you too. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, now is a great time to hit the subscribe button. I will have 2 more layouts in this series up on my channel before the end of September. Here's today's sketch. This is my playful format, meaning I usually don't have a big story to tell with the photos, so this format gives me an opportunity to play with the design. It may have a large die cut in the background or repeating shapes or some other fun element. For this layout, I will have a large frame cut file in the background, and the title will say everything, so there won't be any journaling. Oh, and as a reminder, I do have a sketch bundle available for download that has all 4 sketches, the cutting guide, and a bonus page for each sketch that shows the sketch in all 4 90-degree rotations. I have the bonus page for this sketch right here. On this sheet, you will see the original sketch plus that same sketch rotated at 90 degrees all the way around. For me personally, it's not always as simple as just turning the sketch in front of me to see all of these rotations. When you turn the sketch, oftentimes other things need to be moved around to look right, and that's what I've done for you in this bonus. These options are the original sketch turned at 90-degree increments and what that orientation might look like. But because it's a sketch, you can always change up any of the elements to work for you and your layout. It's just a little something extra. Please let me know if you like having these options, and it may be an upgrade I can provide more regularly in the future. For today's layout, I'm using a 12 by 12 white cardstock base. This design has 3 1 1/4 inch strips, one from pattern paper number 2 here. This strip comes from pattern paper number 5. You'll see it on the cutting guide here. And the last strip comes from paper number 1. I will stick to this sketch as closely as possible, but I will be adding a large frame cut file in the background. All of the layouts in this series have a cut file specifically for the layout. The theme I chose for the series is diamonds because all of these photos were taken on my honeymoon, and I thought a diamond shape was a good tie-in. So this is the cut file that goes with layout number 2. I'm actually going to make some shaker pockets with this one. I've already backed 3 openings in this cut file with clear acetate, and I've added some foam tape on the back of the acetate. I've also put foam tape on the cut file too. I used white cardstock, and I will be adding this to my white cardstock base. My hope is that the shaker stuffing pops right out in the background. Here are my 3 spots, the one up at the top, one near the middle, and one down at the bottom. This cut file does not show on the sketch. I didn't plan that far out to know what cut files I was going to use with each sketch, and I didn't want to make the sketch too busy by adding it. There will be close-ups at the end of this video so you can see all of the details, and I'll post this layout on Instagram. The first thing I need to do for this layout is make the shaker pockets. I kept the rest of the design very clean because there will be so much going on in the background. There is room here for some journaling, but I'm not going to add any to my layout. I will be adding some labels and some word blocks and tags from my Honeymoon Mini Essentials printable. I'm also going to use one of the photo mats I cut when I cut all of my pattern papers. The photo mat is not on the sketch, but I'm going to add one in because that will house my title. These are the pictures I'm using on this layout. This is the one with the peanut butter chocolate pie that we got at Lulu's Chocolate Bar. It was phenomenal. If you're ever in Savannah, Georgia, check out Lulu's for dessert. You won't be sorry. This picture is what inspired the shaker pocket idea. I went to Etsy and found some shaker filler that will be perfect. I found some mini pie slices and some chocolate hearts for the filler, and I will add in some green and yellow sequins that I had in my stash. Creating these shakers will be the most complicated thing I need to do, and it's not easy to film. My head's going to be in the way half the time, so there's no point in filming this. What I thought was a genius method for making these pockets did not exactly turn out as easy as I thought it would. I added foam tape to the back of my cut file, and then I added pencil marks to my cardstock, and I'll put the shaker filling on the cardstock and then overlay the cut file on top. What I wish I had done was measure out on my cardstock where the pocket would go and put the foam tape on the cardstock instead. That would have given me the little pocket to fill the shaker mix in, and it would have been much easier to overlay the cut file on top. That's what I'll do next time. Live and learn. I'm just putting down the shaker filler on the cardstock. You can already see the problem I'll have when I try to overlay the cut file. The shaker mix will be hard to contain. It took some finagling, but I finally will get it all lined up and looking right. The other thing I'm going to add to the shaker pocket is a few little wood veneer hearts. I'll be adding a few to the layout as a finishing touch at the end as well. Let me get these shakers situated and then I'll overlay the cut file. Here is my background with the shaker pockets. Let me grab my pattern papers. I've added some hand stitching lines to my pattern paper strips as it shows in the sketch. In general, I prefer to add stitches to the paper first rather than stitch the papers together and go through several layers. This is a detail you can add or not. It's totally up to you. I do have a sewing machine, but I don't have a place to keep it out, so I generally just end up adding hand stitching when I need to. I didn't cut all of the threads because that adds a little bit of texture, but let me go ahead and get these glued down. So the point of this series was for me to batch scrapbook, i.e. scrapbook for layouts fairly quickly. So why am I adding all of these details if I want to scrapbook quickly? Shaker pockets aren't exactly quick. Hand stitching certainly isn't quick. All true. And if these details aren't for you, that's okay. Just skip them. I like when I flip a page in my album and discover something fun like these shaker pockets. I think the stitching adds texture and it's worth the extra time and effort. But I don't add these things to every layout. And one of the things I've learned in all of my years of scrapbooking is that if I want to add details, I have to plan for it and sometimes do work before I put the layout together. So last night I pulled out the strips and I added the stitching while watching TV. Anytime I add special details like this or the mixed media that I will do in the next layout, I usually plan it out ahead of time. I know that can be frustrating, and it's why some scrapbookers just skip it, because some creators would rather get it all done at one time while creating the layout, and the extra details add on extra time. Do whatever works for you. For me, what works is to plan out the details so I make sure that the special touches like the stitching are completed ahead of time so I don't have to stop creating the layout to add them. So here's the completed background, and this is the photo mat I want to add. I used Doodlebug's Alphabet Soup sticker letters in black for my title. This is the mat from pattern paper number 5. I did include 4 photo mats on the cutting guide to mix and match and use as needed. This detail is not on the sketch, but I'm using this mat because I needed something to put my title on. I didn't want to introduce a new pattern, so I used the same light blue polka dot paper as you see in the middle strip. The photo will be offset a bit because I needed to bring the mat down below the photo for the title to show. I should probably go ahead and glue this down. The photo and the mat are exactly where I want them. The function of the mat is really for the title. My photo will still be flush against the left margin. I glued down the paper strips with wet glue. There was enough surface for them to attach to. But for the photos, I'm going to grab some sticky double-sided tape. I want my photos to be more secure. I don't have a solid surface here, so I want something more than wet glue for this. I'm gonna put the double-sided tape directly on the outlines cut into the mat. First, I should grab the other embellishments I need for this layout to make sure I'm getting the placement right. I don't want to backtrack if I get it wrong. On my tray, I've already added our location to this large label. There are a few other bits here that will go on my layout, and I still have quite a few word blocks and labels left for my other two layouts. This Savannah label will go above my photo, and I wanted to line these up to make sure I have enough room. I will be adding something over by the top of the shaker pocket, but I don't want that embellishment cluster to compete with this label. This alignment looks good, so let me add the sticky tape and I'll get the photos down. Everything is now secure. Both of my photos are down. I added my label above the photo the way the sketch shows. I did add our location in letter stickers from October afternoon. And I will note that I moved my pie photo up a bit from the orientation on the sketch. I wanted to make sure the shaker pocket is showing, so the photo is a little bit higher on my layout. And now we just need to add the rest of the embellishments. This little tag came from the Spectrum Gardenia laser cut element sheet from 49 in Market. I think the black and white stripes is perfect to tie back to the black striped pattern paper. On my sketch, the orientation is closer to the label, but I have more room on the right of the shaker pocket, so I may move that. I don't want this cluster to compete with the label. I wanted to layer up the circle tag from my Honeymoon printable, and this word tag says, "Let's splurge." And yeah, I definitely like the tag going off to the right better. I'm going to cut off the safety pin from my black and white banner. I just don't need that part. And I'll arrange these pieces so that you can still see some of the shaker pocket underneath. Let's see, what else do we have here? Oh, my geotag will go above my photo on top of the Savannah label. I will put that on foam tape to get some dimension. I have one more word tag to add that is also on the sketch. It says dessert, and it will go to the side of the pie photo like it shows in the sketch. I will add some foam tape to that word tag as well. I also found this cute phrase in the 49 in Market laser cuts. It says, "It's a sweet life," which is perfect to add to this dessert photo. This laser cut set comes with a variety of phrases too. It's not just pretty embellishments. Now I can focus on the last embellishment cluster. I trimmed the circle tag so it looks like it's going off the page just like it shows in the sketch, and then I'll layer the banner and my phrase tag on top. This striped banner plays off of the striped paper on the left side of my page. What is it that Janet Madison says? If you don't know what to do next, do something you already did. So yeah, I'm repeating the stripes. You can see that I've built two different visual triangles with my cluster. I've got black one going on with the geotag, the dessert tag, and the black and white banner at the top. There's also a visual triangle with green as I've got the Savannah letters, this phrase tag, and there's green at the bottom in the shaker pocket. The last touch I want to add to this layout is a few of these wood veneer hearts. Let me find one that will cover up the banner seam. This one is too big. Let me try another one. Yeah, I like this size better. There's also room on my Savannah label, so I'm going to find one to fit in one of the open gaps around the geotag. And you know, if I add two, I should probably add a third with the dessert word tag. One will fit right under the photo. So now I'm building a visual triangle with the wood veneer hearts. You'll notice on this layout and the last one, I stayed away from using enamel dots. I'm not fussing around with them in this series because that is exactly what I do. I fuss and it always takes me longer than I want. This just gives me an opportunity to find other finishing touches like I'm doing with the wood veneer hearts. Now that I've got my heart situated, I'm going to grab some glossy accents to glue these down. I'm not sure if the camera is picking up on it, but I did add some of these same wood veneer hearts to my shaker pockets before I glued down my frame. So now I'm repeating the same element and bringing them up into the layout. And that's where I will call this one done. That's the second layout in this series from sketch to completed layout. For the second layout in the series, I added shaker pockets to the background for a fun element to this playful page. The rest of the design is fairly easy to put together, and my strips include some hand stitching for additional texture. If you'd like to download the sketch bundle, I've added a link in the description box below, and this diamond cut frame is now available in my shop. Thank you so much for watching. See